Boys and girls, this is the Undisputed Era. Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly.
Hello, Steve. Hello, Larson. It's me, Dexter Lumis, NXT Superstar. So here's my shout out to the Going In Raw podcast. Clever name.
Hey, friendos and Larson.
With Chris.
Yeah, welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to, found right here at youtube.com/Steven Larson, over on the Twitch, twitch.tv/Steven Larson, or on the Patreon at patreon.com/Steven Larson. I think, too, I get all these URLs confused in my head. Today we have with us the intern, Christopher Kaufman. Steve, of course, last night did a watch party for the Zack Snyder's Justice League. He was up till like 4 o'clock or something. I'm sure he's exhausted. He's taking it easy. It must have been a huge deal to Steve to watch the Snyder Cut because he missed his favorite wrestling program of the week to do so. I'm sure maybe he's watching it now. Who knows? But thank you, Chris, for joining me today.
Oh, it's an honor to be here. Truly, this is the moment I've been looking forward to my entire life. I finally get to be on the show.
On this show. And those days long ago when you would watch our old work, listen to the Tree of Woe.
Ask way too many questions.
But see, it prepared you for a moment like this.
It did.
Now you're in the chair. You're hosting the show. And by our conversation in the pre-show, you are much like Steve in that NXT is must-watch wrestling television for you on a weekly basis.
It is. I feel kind of bad though. I get to take LA Knight's debut away from Steve.
It's pretty huge.
Something he's been looking forward to this entire time.
This is true. But before we get to our NXT recap, let's talk this real quick. So about a week ago, I think it was last Friday, Wrestling Inc. Reported that Andrade had asked for his release from WWE. And we talked about it a couple times since then. And today, Andrade himself confirmed their report. This is what he had to say on Twitter, quote, "The rumors are true and I don't know what the future holds, but I want to make my dreams come true. Thank you for giving me so much support these last days." So it's, we see and hear rumors of people asking for their release frequently these days for WWE talents, it seems. And beyond the rare occasions when they publicly ask for their release, like Ty Dillinger did, like Luke Harper did, usually when these reports surface, the talents themselves don't generally address them directly.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare for that to happen. Andrade just like, yep, I asked for my release. It doesn't know what the future holds because, according to Meltzer, that request was denied, unfortunately. And you can understand the frustration on his part, being at his peak, being immensely talented, putting on incredible performances in WWE, putting in, by all counts, a ton of work, and to not really get anything out of it. So I don't know how much time he has left on his deal. It's a bummer to see a dude like him and like Alistair, relegated to sitting on the sidelines when they have so much to offer, Yeah,
it sucks that a guy with so much talent just has to sit back and just hang by catering the whole time because creative doesn't have anything to do for him or anything, whatever excuse they come up with. And like this dude in NXT was hot shit.
Yeah.
He was good.
Yeah, he was.
Like I had the pleasure of seeing a match between him and Drew McIntyre at a house show. When Drew was NXT champion. It ended up being basically their takeover match, like beat for beat. It was the same thing. But this dude, he just oozes charisma on the screen and in person. It sucks that they just couldn't think of anything to do with him.
I know. His match against Gargano, John, at TakeOver Philadelphia, still one of my top 3 favorite TakeOver matches ever. It's a bummer. It's a real bummer. Dude's got superstar written all over him. He could be anybody's top champ, and the fact that he's not doing anything in WWE is a huge bummer. Guys like him, Alistair, now seemingly Keith Lee, we don't know where he's at.
Yeah.
It's a bummer that all these immensely talented people go to WWE, try to live out their dreams and get there, and then just they don't do anything with them. It's a bummer.
Yeah, and Gareth is right. He put on bangers with Mysterio like week after week, and then they just petered out.
Yep. They put him in that tag team with Garza, and at first it started, promising at first. And then just, like at a certain point into it, it seems like that would be decided, we don't know what to do with these guys, so we won't really do anything with them. Like Garza's a super talented dude as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a head scratcher, and it's a bummer. You just hope that at some point, either he gets his release, he waits out his contract, then he can go out there and find an opportunity for him and show the world what he's got, because he's got a lot. He's got a lot to offer.
How old is he?
I think he's 31.
Yeah, he's got a whole decade plus ahead.
Yeah, he's got 20 years left in his career. So let's jump over to NXT. Two major developments. First and foremost, let's talk Walter. Walter's pretty much best wrestler in the world. He's got the best chops, best power bomb. Him showing up in NXT has been teased for weeks. It's great to see him. He chopped the hell out of Tommaso Ciampa, power bombed the hell out of him. You got to assume this is a match for one of the two takeover days coming up in about 3 weeks' time. Did this pop you as much as that popped me? Because Walter is great.
Oh, yeah, I love Walter. Walter is one of my favorite wrestlers, period, in the world. Like, he's just got, well, obviously, you already said the massive chops. He's got this, I can't get over the fact that he looks like a somehow bigger Alex C, and that always pops me every time I look at him. And he's just so versatile. He finishes matches off with a bunch of different moves. He doesn't just stick to the same basic move set. He's like, it's like he was made for me, because he's just a big guy, super athletic, intense look. Oh, and my girlfriend loves him because he owns a boxer, and that's her favorite type of dog. So that's a plus too.
Yeah. That's very cool. So that's good to see Walter back here. Of course, I'm sure, they were supposed to do Finn, I think, versus Walter at one of the NXT UK takeovers. Obviously, pandemic kept that from happening. It's great to see Walter here in NXT. He's always been fairly upfront about saying he doesn't want to come over to NXT Prime full time because he doesn't want to live in the States. So I would assume he's just going to be here till takeover and then go back to NXT UK. But Imperium has been saying for weeks, hey, essentially the band's getting back together. Especially with Finn there, Kross there, Ciampa, of course, Gargano, all the dream match scenarios for Walter in NXT. It's hard for me not to think of a day when Walter could come to NXT full time, hold the NXT title on a Bruno-esque run, and just chop everybody. That sounds like it'd be such an awesome scenario. Sadly, it probably won't happen. Let's be happy with Walter in NXT for about 3 more weeks. And then, of course, 2 other things we can mention at the top here. One, Io Shirai getting on Raquel Gonzalez about that title match, getting a contract, just like shoving it right at her, telling her to sign it. And that causing a bit of a rift between Raquel and Dakota Kai, their backstage segment. This, like, Steve and I have been thinking for basically months that at any moment now, Raquel and Dakota, their tag team's going to break up. They're going to have their feud. Last night, it was kind of the first real hard evidence that we saw that there could be a problem on the horizon between the two of them. How that plays out, I don't know, because I thought it was going to play out several different ways thus far, and it hasn't. And let's also talk NXT taking a page from SmackDown's playbook of late. Future opponents teaming up to go after tag titles. We're seeing that as SmackDown with Sasha and Bianca Belair going after the women's tag titles last night. Finn Balor, who I love that Finn is like scared of no man. Like most people say, it's like Finn and Santos are the two guys that don't like, like they're shaking their boots with the prospect of Karrion Kross staring them down.
Santos was actively trying to romance Scarlett.
Yeah.
Like he really didn't care about Kross.
No, he did not. And Finn was like, yeah, come on out. What took you so long? So Kross comes out. They have a bit of back and forth to open the show. In the process of that, Lorcan and Burch come out, and then Scarlett is she's into the tarot cards, has been established by the variety of video packages for Karrion Kross. She says, hey, it's in the cards. The two of you are going to be draped in gold. You're both going to be champions. And, of course, they're like, what the heck are you talking about? And then she manages to talk Oney and Burch into putting up the tag titles against Finn and Kross.
She didn't have to talk much into Danny Burch. He was with it from the beginning. He was like, "Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, of course."
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, "Oh, I'm not a coward." She brought up coward and was like, "Okay,
it's
sure."
Like it was a switch was flipped.
Yeah, it's like he was Biff Tannen. You call him meat chicken, or Marty McFly.
Exactly.
Sorry, Marty McFly.
Yeah.
So that was the main event of the show. Didn't work out for either party. Unfortunately, looked like Danny Burch got hurt.
That was
early
rough.
in the match, and then down the stretch, Finn accidentally drop kicked Oney into Scarlet. That set off Karrion Kross. He beat the shit out of everybody, looking pretty dominant to close the show. But we can just dive right into it.
Let's go ahead.
As I mentioned, Finn Balor opened the show with a promo. He comes out and says, "I'm still champion. I've beaten Kyle O'Reilly, Peter Dune, Adam Cole, and now one man remains. Karrion Kross. I've been waiting for you, and at TakeOver, your time is up." This brings Karrion and Scarlett out. Kross says this situation was never going to happen until they each settled their individual separate affairs. Now it's them one-on-one. The NXT universe needs to know who the real champ is around here. Finn needs to know it. Karrion needs to know it. Whole world needs to know it. And Finn says everyone wants to be champ until the real champ walks into the room. Tells Kross he walks and talks like a champ. The problem is, I'm the champ. Kross, we don't have to wait. You don't have what it takes to walk in the main event and beat him. And then Kross is something like, "Oh, I'm going to squeeze all the oxygen out of you, choke you out." And this next line I thought was pretty good. And Finn says, "Kross, you're going to know how it feels to walk in the main event of TakeOver and choke." And that's when Scarlett says, "I've seen it in the cards. This right here, two champs, both draped in gold, the world in awe. It all happens for a reason." And almost by magic, Oney and Danny Burch walk out.
She just summons the tag team champions.
Exactly.
It's like Rawgate. Just get them out here. I was like, how are they both going to get draped in gold? Oh, the tag champ. That's the other gold we have. Let's get them out here.
Exactly. So Burch is like, "Hey, you're all just full of words." Oney's like, "Hey, Finn, you should be facing Peter Dune for the NXT title. We know that Peter Dune can beat Finn. We know Peter Dune can beat Karrion Kross. Sooner or later, he'll be champ." And that's when Scarlett's like, "Hey, there are moments in time that leads us to an inevitable future where the two of them put their tag titles in the line against Finn and Karrion." And then she gets out of the ring, walks towards them, tells them they're confident. They know what they want. They both know what they bring to the table, and they wouldn't stand the word coward being associated with their name. And that's when Burt's like, "Oh yeah, sure, we're not cowards. We'll put them on the line."
She's just like rubbing up all on them, trying to seduce them, being Scarlett. And I couldn't get enough of Burch during that. Oney Lorcan's just being stoic as usual.
Yeah.
And Burch is just like, "I'm listening. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, let's put the titles on the line tonight."
Yeah. And then Scarlett tells Finn, like off, just using, I think it's just with camera audio, telling Finn that every moment happens for a reason. He can't change fate. And our first match of the night, Dexter Lumis versus Austin Theory.
I could hear Mod Chat thirsting over Lumis, just even though I wasn't even with them. I wasn't even live listening in. I could hear it. It was a really good match.
It was.
Like this. They've been building to this for quite a while. But before Theory came out, he was in the back talking on an iPad with John. And they're saying very conveniently that Theory needs to face this challenge alone. And he rocks on out there. And the match begins, immediately spilled to the outside, and cut to commercial. Picture in picture. And by the time we come back, Theory has gained the upper hand. And he's got him in in a cradle position and screams, "We were friends!" And then fall away slam. But Lumis then grabs him into a submission attempt. Theory gets out of that quickly, going to he does the rolling through the ropes springboard move, and gets caught with a spine buster. And Theory was popping me this whole match.
Yeah, he was
because halfway through the spine buster, he goes, "I'm sorry." And let's see, Lumis then rebounds, suplexes him off the top rope. Lumis goes up to the top. Theory moves out of the way. And then Lumis stares at Theory the way he does to most of his opponents. But Theory is unfazed and just running forearm straight through the gullet.
Decks him.
Mm-hmm. Stiff. Theory hits a neck breaker for 2. They trade blows before Lumis takes down Theory with a clothesline. Then Dexter goes to help Theory up, extends the offer. Like, we're gonna be back together. I apologize for beating you up this entire match and putting you through psychological torture. I offer you a hand now, and it's gonna make up for everything.
Yeah.
And Theory refuses at first, and then he convinces himself immediately. He's just like, "No, I want to be friends with you." Let's see here.
And he's saying,
The two, they get up, they hug, and then Lumis just puts the submission onto Theory. Theory goes, "I shouldn't have trusted you." He gets him up on his shoulders. "Lumis, you are not the way." And Lumis reverses it into a massive side effect into the finish for the win.
Yep. Yeah, Theory passes out. It was good. Austin Theory was great. You know, like you could sense just mentally the back and forth he was going through between listening to John and still holding out hope that Lumis was his friend. And whatever the therapist told him was not the truth. It turns out in the end, at least now, Lumis doesn't really want to be friends.
Yeah, no. He just wants a win.
He just wants a W. After that, we get Mackenzie. She's outside Regal's office looking for a word from Regal about the tag title match that was seemingly booked in the beginning of the show. Ciampa walks up. This was kind of confusing. So he's talking about Thatcher wasn't there. He says, "Hey, Mackenzie, go find Eichner and Barthel. Ask them if they've seen Wolf lately. I bet their answer is going to be no." The implication, I guess, is that Ciampa beat him up. It says, "Hey, then tell them by the end of the night, only one of them is going to be left standing in that ring." And at that moment, I think he's talking about Barthel is going to know that his time is up, that they messed up. And then later on, during Ciampa's match against Barthel, they were making the case that maybe Thatcher was beat up in advance, and that's why he wasn't there. I'm like, I mean, maybe,
where'd this come from?
Yeah, Ciampa just said he wasn't there. He didn't say why. So I don't know.
Commentary, and we'll get to that when that match comes, but commentary had a lot of speculation on where Thatcher was.
They did. That they did. Next, we had an Adam Cole promo. He says last week Kyle O'Reilly made the biggest mistake of his life. Before last week, he wasn't mad at Kyle O'Reilly. He just didn't need him anymore. But then he decided to cost Adam Cole the NXT title. Kyle O'Reilly knows deep down in his heart that he's jealous of Cole because he'll never be as successful as him. So congrats, Kyle O'Reilly. You just wrote your own death warrant. And he says, I don't care if Kyle O'Reilly is cleared or not. He's not leaving till Kyle O'Reilly gets out in this ring and they finish this once for all. Instead, William Regal comes out, says O'Reilly wasn't cleared last week. He suffered further damage to his neck due to their altercation. Now he's going to be out even longer. He's not in the building.
William Regal is so done with this storyline.
Oh my gosh!
Like he didn't make like any sort of dramatic interest. He just like speed walked out to the. It's like, you two are going on way too long. You've injured him even further, and like, we're gonna settle this when he comes back, like that type of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that bit with the cops later on, where he's literally walking back.
He's just.
Gosh. Just beside himself, just so frustrated.
He can't stand these two.
It's great.
But
it's long-term story with Adam Cole, especially. He just can't stand Adam Cole.
Oh yeah. Regal gets interrupted with the most Matt Chat question of Matt Chat questions ever.
Sleepy Kyle
O'Reilly. It was that was not a good promo.
It wasn't the best. It was a little too sleepy. It seemed like he was just in his car. He just woke up from a nap.
It seemed like he was doing it through tout. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, he's an old tout. So O'Reilly says, hey, I'm not in the building because of safety concerns. Your safety, Adam. But I'm sure we'll hash things out sooner or later. Find it hilarious how upset you'd be over losing the title. O'Reilly says he's a patient guy, but when it comes to Adam, he can't wait, and he won't rest till he ends him. Cole tried to end his career. He says, hey, Adam, I know where you live, where you hang out, where you buy your video games. I don't know what I have to do, but I know I have to do it. And yes, that is a threat. And then Cole tells Regal, hey, that I got to find Kyle. Kyle can't find and hurt me if I find Kyle first.
Yeah. then he and Regal do that awkward walk out in the same direction thing after they've said goodbye. And I'm like, oh, they couldn't have cut away from this?
Live television, man. You got to do it on the fly. You got to do it on the fly.
Then after that, we got a recap of the new women tag championships. Going through what happened last week with the whole giving it to Raquel and Dakota, and then they lose it. Then they had an interview. Shotzi was saying she was happy that she won in front of her dad. Ember is happy to represent a whole division. And then, oh God, why am I blanking on that? I didn't write their name down.
Robert Stonebrand.
Yeah, they came up and issued a challenge, and Shotzi and Ember accepted it, and it's punctuated with Ember saying, "Your suit sucks."
Yeah, which Robert Stonebrand, Aaliyah, and Jessie Kamea were shocked that Ember had the temerity to insult Robert Stone's suit, which looked pretty good. After that, Jordan Devlin rolls up to the Capitol Wrestling Center in surely a rented vehicle. And then we go to commercial, we come back. Legado del Fantasma, Raul Mendoza, Joaquin Wilde taking on Breezango. These guys all four of them have a bit of a history. But you knew at the end of the day, this is all a setup for Jordan Devlin to come out. That did happen after Legado del Fantasma got the win over Breezango after hitting their finish. It was a fun match.
It was.
And then this was great. So Santos grabs one of the headsets at commentary and talks about how NXT belongs to Legado. He's like, hey, I want to know where this Devlin guy is at. I'm the one true Cruiserweight champion. I hear a lot about this Devlin guy, though, but where is he? So this brings out Jordan Devlin. So he gets in the ring. Santos stands on the announce table, and he's got Raul and Joaquin Wilde kind of like between himself and the ring. Devlin tells Santos he's been running around for a year claiming to be the Cruiserweight champ, but he's not. He tells Santos take a good long look at what's in the ring, because what you see is what a real champion looks like. He doesn't need to come and jump from behind. He called him out in front of the whole world, and he didn't need two little stooges to do it. Raul and Joaquin get upset by this. They start walking towards the ring. Santos says, no, stop, I got this. So Santos gets off the announce table, gets in the ring. Devlin says Santos has been telling everyone that he's the king of the division. Well, the ace is back in town. Santos can take that replica title he's got there. That's got to be shaded at Impact. Toss it in the trash because the real Cruiserweight champ is back. And Santos like, filling in. I've redefined what it means to be a Cruiserweight. I made history as a Cruiserweight champ and proven it time and after time after time. You know why you still have that title? Because everyone forgot you had it in the first place. So wrap up your business in United Kingdom. Of course, he's got a match against Trent Seven today on NXT UK, which I'm really looking forward to. And challenges to a match at TakeOver, and they'll settle it once and for all. Devlin headbutts Santos, does the ripcord Saito suplex and leave, and Santos is bleeding from the mouth.
That was a stiff headbutt.
It was.
Did you see that still image that I forget who posted it in Mod Chat, where it looks like Escobar just immediately started crying?
Oh no.
It was a really good picture.
That's crazy. I'll check that out.
Is it just me, or like, does it feel like NXT is running a lot of very similar storylines of I'm real champ, you're not real champ? Because you got that a little bit with Finn and Kross.
Yep.
You got that a lot here.
Yep.
And somewhat with the women's tag division.
I've been telling Steve for a while that I feel like NXT, and it's getting a little bit better these days, but for the longest time, NXT has an issue with too many of the same kind of characters, too many tough badasses, and not a whole lot of variation in terms of motivations or characteristics or personalities. They've gotten a bit better about that of late. I mean, you got Gargano doing the heel turn, and he's been hilarious, and Lumis isn't exactly just, hey, I'm a tough badass type guy. But for the most part, that's what Karrion Kross is. For the most part, that's what Finn Balor is. For the most part, that's what Cole and Ciampa.
He done.
Yeah, there's variations, but at the core, they're all tough badass guys. And when NXT narratively gets stale, I think it's because that's primarily the issue, because there's not a whole lot of differentiation at the core between so many other characters. Yeah, there's some differences, but you got one badass wrestler against one badass wrestler. And it's like, okay, here's a couple of badass wrestlers who are going to fight. And the matches are always great, but
yeah, of course.
from a storyline perspective, sometimes it just it doesn't feel that exciting.
It's like we're more invested in what Cameron Grimes is doing over like even the main title scene.
Yeah.
And that was the next segment was Cameron Grimes. They're like, oh, he's not here either, but he's off vacationing with all his money.
Yeah.
And a bunch of photoshops that look like I did it.
Terrible. Well, no, these were, you could do much better photoshops than this. The one he did Damian Priest holding the donut was great. This was like the most like the intentionally. I mean, it's done for the sake of the humor.
Yes, of course.
Like the laziest, crappiest photoshops I've seen in a long time. They didn't try matching up the lighting between Grimes and whatever they put his face on. It was just bad, but intentionally bad. One thing they did have before that is they announced Sarray that she's coming to NXT. I think they signed her a while ago, and now she's finally apparently on the verge of making her debut, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
Oh, no worries. And then we got Zoey Stark versus Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai finally picking up a win here for a while. Raquel Gonzalez has been the obvious more dominant member of their team. By and large, whenever Dakota Kai gets tagged into a tag match, if her team had advantage, she would give up advantage. So it's good. I mean, Zoey Stark in her handful of matches she's had at NXT has really impressed. She's damn good. And she's going to be going places pretty soon. But Kai,
yeah, this match was like I wasn't expecting anything out of it. Like I was expecting just a traditional NXT match. I really enjoyed this match. And like I told you pre-show, this was when, you know, the effects started kicking in, so this is when my notes get a little looser. And at one point I just wrote great match, 7.7 out of 9 floor chickens. That's what I rated the match.
Wow. High praise.
High praise.
High praise.
I don't know why I did out of 9 instead of out of 10.
I don't know, but that's high praise nonetheless.
So, a lot of floor chickens.
A lot of floor chickens. So Dakota gets the win with a draping go to kick. After so Zoey goes up top, Dakota Kai hits her with the enziguri, draping go to kick to get the win. So then Zoey Stark's in the corner, kind of recovering, and Raquel and Dakota kind of step up to her, and then Io walks out. She's got contract in hand, walks up to Raquel and just shoves it at her, like right in her chest.
Completely no sells Dakota too. Just
walk.
Cold shoulder, walk right by her.
She tells Raquel, "I want the match," and then she helps up Stark and helps her up the ramp. You can tell right there that we're gonna get a tag match between the four of them next week, and that was confirmed later on. Then we get a brief interview with William Regal. He's about to answer a question about the Cruiserweight title. No, he's told something happened with Adam Cole. Off they go. We go to commercial. Steve,
I've got to go deal with these two idiots again.
Like,
always with you. Why is it always you two?
I know. Next, we got a Grizzled Young Veterans promo. It's just them talking trash about MSK. Drake's like, hey, you guys don't realize consequences of your actions. You soon will enough. You will soon enough. Sorry. Gibson says the stunt you pulled last week go down as the biggest mistake of your careers. He says what they did to his hand, it's all bandaged up and stuff. Will not go without a receipt. Grizzled Young Veterans soon to be recognized, so on and so forth.
They even said they were simping for Fandango.
They did.
Way out
MSK
of line.
was doing that, yeah. Next, we got Marcel Barthel versus Tommaso Ciampa. So Ciampa sneak attacks Eichner, who comes out with Barthel before the match begins. He hops with the barricade, blasts him, tosses him over, puts Barthel in the ring. Match begins. Barthel's kind of working over Ciampa's neck, throat. And at one point, though, Ciampa turns tables looking for Willow's bell. Eichner grabs Barthel's ankles, so Ciampa can't drop him. Ciampa then turns attention to Eichner, fends him off, gives Barthel time to recover, boots him, hits a drop kick, goes for running knee. However, Ciampa catches that, hits a knee of his own, German suplex, Willow's bell, gets the win. Then, oh my gosh, Walter is here. He comes walking down the ring, and at first he's like down the floor, and he looks to Barthel and Eichner and just kind of goes, like, chill, hold back. And so he's kind of doing a stare down with Ciampa, and then Eichner and Barthel attack Ciampa from behind. He turns around to a massive Walter chop. Huge. Thunderous. And then Walter hits him with a power bomb, and Imperium does their pose over Ciampa. This should be a hell of a match. It's good they're giving something Ciampa weighty. to do at TakeOver, and I guess at that juncture we will see where Tim Thatcher's true loyalty lies, whether it was with Tommaso Ciampa or if it's with Imperium.
Mm-hmm. Did it bug you as much as it bugged me that commentary didn't seem to make a big deal out of Walter being here? They're just kind of like, oh, Walter's back on American soil.
Yeah, they should have lost their shit because I was.
That's neat.
Yeah, I even had it spoiled for me, but I still was marking out because Walter's the best.
Yeah, I was freaking. I was like, why is this not a big deal? Did I miss something last week? Like, why are they just kind of, this is the normal thing?
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I know they kind of underplayed it a bit. Although they did mention that he did have that NXT. He has had the NXT UK title for 712 days or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations where if there was a full crowd there that could appreciate the magnitude of the moment, they would have relayed the importance of it more than commentary would have. I don't know.
I think I'm just used to Nigel freaking out whenever he sees Walter in any sense. Like, he could just see him in the grocery store and like, there's Walter!
He's buying a carton of milk.
Over 700 days with the UK Championship.
Walking around with a little basket full of some groceries.
Mm-hmm.
So then we go back to Regal. He's rushing out into the parking lot. Kyle O'Reilly is getting put into the back of a cop car. A couple car lengths ahead, Adam Cole, he's cuffed too, and he's yelling at Kyle O'Reilly that he's going to pay, and he's snitching to Regal that Kyle O'Reilly was trying to run him off the road. And the cop's like, and Adam Cole is cussing up a storm here. They're bleeping out everything. And cop's like telling Adam Cole to settle down. He's like, I'm not going to fucking settle down. And Regal he'll go to try to talk to Adam Cole. Adam Cole screams, he'll go, ugh. I'll go talk to O'Reilly. Ugh. And like he's standing between these two cop cars, he just shrugs. He puts his hands up in the air. Ugh.
he's just so finished with these two. So, I will say props to the police for wearing masks.
That's true.
Nobody, both of them, and they over the nose and everything.
That's good.
Good job, whatever Orlando
good.
PD, I guess.
Orange County sheriffs or whoever was whose jurisdiction that was. So let's just skip ahead to this. So later on, I think it was Mackenzie meets them in the parking lot and asks, "What are you going to do about this?" And he says, "They're out of control." Assuming the cops drop charges, he's going to demand that Cole and O'Reilly show up at the Capitol Wrestling Center next week because nothing's going to stop them from destroying each other, and he thinks he has a solution to their situation. What is this solution going to be?
Well, traditional Regal logic is going to be a War Games match. But as we know, Kyle can't perform. That's in kayfabe, and I think also, is that also like a shoot, like he can't perform, or is that just kayfabe?
I think it's just kayfabe. I think they're just selling the effects.
I know he had
attacks.
like elbow bursitis or something like that recently.
Oh, the fluid on his elbow.
Yeah,
that could be. I don't know if that's gonna keep him out of action though.
But let's see. I think War Games is out of the picture because there's not enough people going at. Oh, I like White Brownie's suggestion of hair versus hair death match.
See Adam Cole with no hair then.
1v1 Uno. That's another good one from Alex C.
That's good. Some Connect 4 maybe, or Stratego.
Connect 4. Just a nice game of, how about just trivia like we were talking in the pre-show? Just who knows more.
There we go. We'll do some Ring of Honor history trivia. I don't know. Here's the thing. Part of me thinks that they want to go for Gargano Ciampa type levels of intensity and length for this feud. Right now, I don't know if it has it, but that could all change with like one really great match.
Yeah.
So if they want a series of matches to really put over Kyle O'Reilly as, a main eventer, at the end, whether it's at this takeover or two takeovers down the line, you got to think a loser leaves NXT match.
Probably. Cole's been there long enough.
Yep.
He needs somewhere new. I saw some Asian merc said loser goes to ROH. But you got to think Kyle comes out on top in this feud because, like, it helps Cole none to win this. Oh, Pat McAfee on a pole match. No one gets him down. Match never ends.
The match just never ends. This whole storyline is to build Kyle O'Reilly into a main eventer.
Oh yeah,
that's what this is all about. So yes, not to say O'Reilly doesn't lose a match here or there, but he's coming out ahead in this feud. And if he's the one that sends Adam Cole packing out of NXT, he'll get a face pop from at least William Regal for that.
Oh yeah.
So
I mean, it's only apropos at this point, like that one of the Undisputed Era sends Cole out of NXT.
Next, LA Knight. He's in the
LA
locker
Knight.
room. He tosses. He takes a drink of like a gallon of water, puts the lid on, just throws it in his locker. I'm like, aren't you worried about that spilling all over the place? LA Knight.
No, he just finished it.
Well, I guess. I thought there was like
He's
a little
going
bit
out
left.
there with a full bladder.
Oh gosh, brave move, LA Knight.
It's I think he does it just so he can like go through the matches fast, so he just gets quick victories because he's just really got to piss the
That
whole
could
time.
be, or his new finisher is micturation.
Mixeration.
Gonna pee on you, dummy.
I piss excellence, dummy. Yeah,
That's just a fact of life. So
just a fact of life.
he's walking out of the locker room. There's a cameraman. He's like, oh, everybody wants to hear what LA Knight has to say. Everybody's talking about what's about to go down. They're talking about LA Knight coming down the ring. We're about to find out why commentaries called me a megastar, dummy. Yeah. It's not as good as Steve.
Andre, you agree? Talks to Andre's poster for a second.
That's right.
You see Bronson Reed in the background just walk into the locker room.
That would pay off in a moment, because the next match was, in fact, LA Knight versus Austin Gray. LA Knight has this match well in hand until Bronson Reed shows up on stage with LA Knight's blue leather jacket, and he starts to put it on. One seam rips over here. And LA Knight's in the ring is like, that's my jacket. That's way too small for you. That's not going to fit you.
You can't put that on.
Dubby, you can't put that on. And so he puts the other sleeve on, and he does this, and both the sleeves just rip off.
Disintegrates.
Yeah. And so he starts to take it off, and he's got like one of the sleeves is stuck on his giant arm, and he tosses like the body of it on the ground and starts stomping on it. And then August Gray tries to roll up LA Knight from behind.
How great would it have been if he lost his debut? I thought for a second they were going for that. But obviously they want to do something good with him, so they're not going to have him lose.
Nah.
But good show for is it Austin Gray or August Gray?
I think
the commentary was switching between the two.
August, because I think when they first in Evolve he was Anthony Green, I think, and so when they first renamed him, I thought it was Austin, but now I think it's August, or maybe it's the other way around. Because it's like you, I've heard him refer to him as by both names.
Well, anyway, Gray actually gets the upper hand, and he does a few moves to LA Knight, goes for what was his? They said the name of his finish, where he's like running on the top rope and does a
he does like the crossbody type thing. He was going for the crossbody off the top. Yeah.
But then LA Knight gets out of the way and hits August Gray with like it wasn't a headlock driver. It was like a cravat driver.
Yeah,
almost.
he has his headlight up here. It's kind of similar to what Mox's old finish was in WWE.
Yeah.
Which I'm still not sure. Except I think Mox had their head down here as opposed to up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, cravat drive is kind of.
What do you think of that finish?
I mean, he's dropping a dude right on the top of his head, so I can see why that would hurt.
It's very effective.
And it's different than anybody else is doing. No, I can see how that could be kind of clumsy looking, especially if the timing on it's not quite right.
You think you could hit that on somebody out of nowhere? Or does that need the setup? Oh, God, because if you try to do that while somebody's diving, they're just diving straight on their head.
You can't do that.
No, you can't do that. You can't hit that out of nowhere.
Well, I mean, you could do a thing where there's like a little chain wrestling bit in the ring.
Yeah.
And you're in a position, maybe someone has a waist lock, and you can just kind of, like Adam Cole, where he smacks your hands, grabs the head, bang, right into it. You can maybe do it that way, but you're not going to get like you're not going to get like an RKO type situation.
Yeah.
Definitely not that. So LA Knight gets the win. Yeah. You got to imagine Bronson Reed versus LA Knight. It's probably coming up a takeover here in a matter of weeks. After that, we're back in the locker room. Raquel Gonzalez doing an interview. She says EO made a huge mistake handing her that contract. She says, once I put pen to paper, EO's title reign has an expiration date. Dakota Kai walks in, and she's like, yeah, I just talked to Regal next week. It's the two of us against EO and Zoey Stark. And Raquel is like,
hold up now.
I have contract. I can face EO whenever. Like, why do I need this? And Dakota says, no, I need this for me. We just had 2 back-to-back losses as a team. we need to remind everybody who runs this division. And Raquel's like,
oh yeah, that makes sense.
fine, I can get behind that.
I can cash this in at any point I want.
Exactly.
Kind of an unofficial Money in the Bank.
Exactly. And then we get a quick Xia Li Boa video package. I guess the key takeaway from this was resistance will not be tolerated. Obstacles will be removed. That was kind of the punctuation at the end. We mentioned the Regal parking lot interview, and that brings us to our main event.
Main event.
For the tag titles, Karrion Kross, Finn Balor versus your champions, Oney Lorcan, Danny Burch.
Yeah, and it's their title match, and they got a jobber entrance. I was not a fan of that.
I know. I thought I fast forwarded through it accidentally.
No, it was just Kross. Kross comes out, and God, this is something that Maggie and I talk about all the time. We, much like Steve, we just can't get behind Kross, mainly because of his look. Maggie and I hold the same thought that he just looks like some random dude we find in a Georgia gas station.
Oh,
Like we can just see him with like a trucker hat and some sort of camo on somewhere, and it's the goatee. It's mainly the goatee. If he either just goes full beard or shaves, we just can't for the life of us get behind him. But somebody we can get behind, Finn comes out next. And Lorcan and Burch, the jobber entrance, that's not fun whatsoever.
the disrespect to the tag champions is thick. It is.
And the way it starts out is just Kross is manhandling Lorcan. Lorcan tags Burch in. Kross runs through him too, cinches in a big bear hug. Kross goes for the suplex when Lorcan comes in to interfere, stopping that momentum. And then Kross suplexes them both and drops Burch right on the top of his head. And that looked terrible. The ref had to buy time, and it cuts to commercial. I got the picture-in-picture, and it showed that the ref actually kind of had to help Burch over to the corner just a little bit, just get him up and kind of push him over there for the tag. I saw somewhere that he separated his shoulder.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Which, if that's all he had out of that, because it looked like he was going to have some sort of neck problem, which was terrifying.
Yeah.
But regardless, he separated shoulder. He's out for the rest of the match. Finn tags in. He actually kind of gives some words to Kross after that bad bump. Let's see, where's no sign of Burch. Burch is just off on his own. You see he's getting checked out by doctors later. Finn drop kicks Burch. Not Burch. Drop kicks Lorcan. Slaps on an arm stretch. Lorcan gains control over Finn. Standard suplex for a 2 count. Then we see the doctor bit. He's definitely hurt. Lorcan is screaming how he's the greatest tag team champion. And he has Balor in his grasp, has all the momentum in the world, and then Balor reverses with a jawbreaker and a Pele kick. Balor goes for the hot tag, but before he can get that, Lorcan knocks Kross off of the ring. Balor gets control of the match again, knocks Lorcan out, hits the sling blade on the outside, and then Finn drop kicks Lorcan into Scarlet, which kicks off our finish. Kross thinks Finn did it, or regardless, Kross is not happy. Snaps, attacks Balor. Lorcan hits the running uppercut for the win. The tag champions retain, and then Kross hits his finish on Lorcan after the match is over and chokes out Balor. Scarlett stops Kross before picking Balor back up, and then Kross running forearm. Scarlett says everything happens for a reason. You can't escape fate. And then we get the logo.
So let me ask you, was this all a setup for Kross to lay out Balor, or did she really see it in the cards that they were going to be tag champs?
I don't know. I was thinking, because she said 2 champions draped in gold. That doesn't necessarily have to mean Kross and Balor.
That's true.
Maybe we get some sort of interference during their match, or not, maybe after the match. Maybe that's where she was reading it wrong or whatever, or this could have just been a big setup where maybe Walter comes in and interferes with Finn, and then they get their match at the next takeover, or at NXT proper at some point while Walter's still in the States.
Yeah.
But it could have just easily been explained as it was just a setup and she was
Yeah,
lying.
That's how I gathered it too, because with her, because I was wondering about that, if they're gonna make that a story thing where she, it has this prognostication that they're gonna be tag champs, much like it's been his thing for forever, that he's gonna be the champion. And then if this prognostication doesn't come true, that puts in doubt other ones. But when she comes down and leans next to Finn and says, "Hey, you can't escape fate." The idea, I guess, in my mind was like, oh, okay, fate really is. Kross is going to destroy Finn. Everything else is in service of that. So
yeah.
But yes, that was NXT for this week. Would you like to answer some questions?
I would love to answer some friendo questions.
Answer some friendo questions. Before we get to that, PW Insider is the one that had the story about Danny Burch perhaps separating his shoulder. And that was the same injury. That's what kept Karrion Kross out. Separated shoulder, I believe.
It's such a weird injury because sometimes it could be a matter of like a month or two, and other times it can be much longer, just depending on how it heals back and if you get surgery or not.
And the severity of the separation too. Yeah, I mean that's one of the injuries that Finn had after he won the Universal title. That he tore his labrum, I think, too, with his shoulder, but he also separated.
Yeah.
Zell 1991 with the sub. Thank you very much.
Hey. Fat Bastard Champ Alex Foster on the Patreon. If NXT ever does do its Evolve show, who could you see being featured?
Oh, good question. I think a lot of the people they signed directly from Evolve before it folded would be obvious names. But I kind of wonder if they, at least initially, they would take a similar approach to what they've done with 205 Live, where there's roster members who are to a certain degree exclusive to 205 Live, but they will show up on NXT from time to time, like Kurt Stallion. I mean, obviously Santos, he's champion, he comes back and forth all the time. But like Kurt Stallion, August Gray, because like I wouldn't be surprised if wrestlers like Tyler Rust, Leon Ruff, they're having on NXT Prime now to get some name value behind, to establish them, so when they do NXT Evolve, they can have them go over there and kind of be the cornerstones of that particular brand. I don't know about Leon Ruff, whether he would just stay on NXT Prime or go to Evolve, because I think he's already a former North American champion. All that, he's pretty well established on NXT, so I don't know if they'd bump him over to Evolve or not. But I can definitely see someone like Tyler Rust, the aforementioned August Gray, a lot of the people they have signed directly from Evolve. I would not be surprised if they go there, but I don't know. I mean, until it's confirmed and announced, I don't know.
Yeah, you more or less said the names I was going to say. Let's see. Rich, LA Knight drinks water from a milk jug. What else does he drink from it besides milk? That was like a water jug. Because they sell water in the 2-gallon jugs.
Yeah, they do. They 2-gallon one. Yeah, they do.
Do you think he exclusively drinks things out of 2-gallon jugs?
In my mind, he has one 2-gallon jug that he washes out. Twice a week. No, sorry, every 2 weeks.
Oh no!
And he drinks water from it.
Just water?
Just water. He might. Just water. That's too much for a protein shake or something like that. It's just water.
True. Okay. Just water. In my mind, he exclusively uses 2-gallon. Anything he drinks, it has to come out of a 2-gallon jug. So like lemonade, sure.
That's a serving for him. Yeah.
Sweet tea, I wouldn't imagine him getting a lot of sweet tea. But if he ever wants to treat himself,
2 gallons of sweet tea. Yeah.
2 gallons of sweet tea, and then water and milk.
Good. That's good. But all from the same jug.
All from in your world.
All from the same jug. He washes out every 2 weeks. Organ Grinder says, I feel like Bronson should be the heel, not LA Knight. Matches come and go, but that was a nice jacket.
That was a nice jacket. Also, hold on. I forgot to mention this earlier. Did it kind of bug you that all of LA Knight's like Tron and like graphics and everything were blue, but he's in just stark red?
Yeah. It kind of does. Like Bronson tore up the blue jacket. It
was a blue jacket.
I don't know, man. It is weird.
Why didn't he have blue gear?
You know what bugs me the most probably is that the name on his Tron is the old SmackDown logo.
Is it really?
It's the same font as like one of the old SmackDown logos.
I was too busy looking at his face all over the walls. Because it's just him and the glasses. One of them slightly
Glasses,
tilted.
I know, it's slightly down on his nose. Jorge D with some bits says, in honor of Steve, can the two of you try to do a conversation between LA Knight and Walter ordering at Del Taco? Man.
Which one do you want to take?
Can you do a German accent?
I took German for 2 years, so I
did
so.
too. Okay, well, if you feel comfortable trying to do the German accent, have at it.
All right.
Sorry, so the two of them walk into Del Taco. Of course, LA Knight's going to take the lead. Listen here, dummy. I'll take 2 number 5s, Cali Burrito.
Wait.
And
Wait. Who's paying for this? Is it you or me?
You're the champion, dummy. You get the bill.
It only makes sense. In that case, I will be ordering first. I will take the... Where are we again? Del Taco?
Del Taco, dummy.
I'll take the 2 chicken soft tacos.
Is that all you're going to eat?
And a bratwurst. You probably have one of these, don't you?
LA Knight will take what he's got plus 2 more chicken soft tacos. Dummy, yeah.
And a jug of water for my friends.
There we go.
I can't do a good Walter. I'm sorry. Hammond Serrano, if the two of run an investigation office, if the two of you run an investigation office and you hire NXT consultants, who gets you better results? Cameron Grimes' GameStop money funding, John Gargano's talking talents as a decoy, or Dexter Lumis's questionable methods?
So we're a couple of private investigators, and we got some. See, I might go with Gargano. I know Grimes has the money, but John, it's not like he doesn't have deep pocketbooks because he paid off the therapist. He's
That's
fine.
true.
Use the money to get what he wants. 2, he evaded capture when he attacked Aleister Black for a number of weeks.
That's true.
So he has that. He knows about that line of thinking. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Gargano on that.
I think just for the wild card aspect of it, I'm going with Lumis. I feel like he'd get a lot of answers without asking a lot of questions. People are just gonna stare into his steely eyes, and they're just gonna reveal whatever they did.
That's true. That could be. That might be the easiest way to go about it. I feel like Gargano as a private detective would be funny though. Gareth, Imperium beat Undisputed Era at WWE Worlds Collide. Did NXT miss an opportunity to revisit a feud between these dominant groups? They did, but with Walter not wanting to come to the States, at least even more than just occasionally, it wasn't going to happen. But yeah, that'd been great. That match was fantastic, especially considering Alexander Wolf was knocked out like immediately, basically. It was such a good match. Such a great match.
Brandon Mullet King Monroe. When and what is Candice's first title and fantasy book the story?
When Raquel gets that belt, she's going to have it for a while.
Do you think her and Indy go for the women's tag belts?
Yeah, I think so. They already kind of set that up a little bit when they were doing the standing ovation for Shotzi and Ember when they came backstage. The only 2 women who weren't cheering them on were Candice and Indy, but I don't think they're going to be hot potatoing those tag belts so soon after their inception.
You got to think after Ember and Shotzi wrap up with this feud that just started, they're going to have another feud, and maybe they come around to Indy and Candice at that point.
Yeah, you think so. Dang MQ, Eric Bischoff announced for WWE Hall of Fame on Corey Graves' podcast today. I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that.
He's back.
Better than ever. Night by night. Recently, you've been spending your time preparing to enter the Iditarod. You feel like you've got your body ready to endure the cold, but unfortunately, you don't have a proper set of snow boots lying around. What NXT superstar do you ask to loan you a pair so your feet don't freeze during the race?
Well, the easy answer is Cameron Grimes because he has all the money. He can get you the best snow boots out there.
I'm trying to think
That's
of
the easy one.
wrestlers from cold climates. Like Tyler Breeze, I believe, is from Canada. I believe he's Canadian. Someone who might actually have a pair lying around. But I think I think he's from British Columbia. Yeah, he is.
Do we count NXT UK?
Sure.
Because we could say Ilya.
That's true. That's true.
He's from Russia, correct?
That's correct. White Brownie with Walter on borrowed time. How should he be booked in NXT on the road to TakeOver? Chopping everybody. Chops. Chops. More chops.
Power bombs.
More chops.
Just wins.
And then at TakeOver, chops. Powerbomb to Ciampa. He wins.
Wolfpack for life. I initially was not a fan of Karrion Kross when they first came in, but since his return, I've been enjoying his work a lot more. Why do you think this is? I think it's because he's talking a lot more.
He is, and his match with Escobar really kind of took him outside kind of the what it seemed like NXT was trying to do with him at first to a degree, which is just make him this unbeatable monster, which doesn't really play to his strengths. If you've seen any of his work, like in Future Stars of Wrestling out of Vegas, he has this match there against Thatcher that's really good, and it's a catch wrestling match. I think that style is more fitting in what Karrion Kross is probably more comfortable doing than going out there and hitting suplexes on everybody. Not to say that's not part of his arsenal. It is. But it would, maybe in concept it would seem easy for someone to be booked as an unbeatable monster. But I think to try to do that within NXT style is tough. Because, kind of historically speaking, if you're the monster that comes in the ring and just destroys everybody, you're not doing it at a breakneck pace. And NXT is full of really talented wrestlers who work fast. And if that's not something that Karrion Kross is accustomed to, trying to adapt to style that he might not be familiar with or comfortable with already in a particular place where the speed of the action is faster than he's maybe used to, that might explain why it looked like at times he was having footwork issues, That's just speculation. I'm not a wrestler, so I can't speak with a great deal of authority on that.
And you could just be liking him more now because he's more comfortable doing the style he's asked.
That's true.
And they've changed. They've like reached a happy medium of what they want. And he's also been doing good story work. Like the stories he's had with Santos and now Finn have been interesting. So that could be it. And then Wolfpack for Life again said, LA Knight was on a game show called The Hero, hosted by The Rock. In the show, he says The Rock was his favorite, and during his pre-match promo, I heard a little of The Rock's cadences.
Oh, yeah.
And a couple punches look like The Rock's, too.
Yeah.
What other wrestlers do you see have similarities to past superstars in this regard? Well, Dolph Ziggler is just an HBK clone.
Yeah. And I believe they poked fun at him on WTV because of that. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities in LA Knight and The Rock in terms of the how they carry themselves, even like their posture in the ring.
I could definitely see that.
The cadence of the promos, yeah. Some of his moves, totally.
Dummy.
Razor Gem has our ratings in for the week. AEW 768, NXT 597. So pretty much par for course. Pretty much par for course.
This is the last Patreon question. Shindo, considering how stacked Stand and Deliver is shaping up to be, do you think 2 nights of TakeOver is the future with the wealth of talent they have at their disposal? There seems to be no filler for the event, but I hate to see them have 5-hour plus mega shows to accommodate.
No, I think it's just something special they're doing for Mania, and that's it.
Seems to be a special event type occasion.
Yeah, seems to be the case. Well, that's all the questions I got, too, so we'll call it a wrap here on this NXT recap. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you for joining me. It's been fun.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you again. Come back anytime, especially on a Raw recap. I can use a night off.
I don't know about that. Okay, let's not push that. Let's not go that far.
You can't do
NXT. I'll take.
You can't do a solo Raw recap. Let's try a solo Raw recap. It's great. Really test your mettle. But that'll do it for us. Twitch crowd, stick around. We'll answer a few questions. Maybe we'll raid somebody. But until next time, thank you again, Chris. We'll talk to y'all later.
See you guys.
Help support Going In Raw today by becoming a Friendo Club TV member. You'll get access to new bonus episodes every week, including Friendo Club Arcade, Live Power Rank, Vintage 10 for the Wins, and Ask Steve and Larson. Get access to Friendo Club TV today by becoming a $5 and up patron at patreon.com/Steve and Larson, by throwing us a sub at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson, or by clicking join at youtube.com/Steve and Larson.